Here we go. Happy Tuesday to you. Welcome into another edition of the Joe Raineri Show, brought to you by WagerTalk.com. It is your one-stop shop for free wagering advice across every damn sport known to mankind. Not to mention, you've got access to over a dozen of the world's greatest, most experienced, and most successful handicappers, all just a click away simply by heading over to wagertalk.com. So welcome in Miami Acura hotline above me, 855-WTF-2255. Want to hear from you today. We are loaded. We got plenty of stuff going on. Want to get you caught up. We've got people being traded in the NFL still. We've got people being cut. We've got rumors, innuendos. We've got all sorts of headlines. We'll get you the latest information. We even have an arrest today, if you can believe it, in the NFL. Yes, we have an arrest of a backup quarterback, so we'll tell you exactly what's going on with that, and it's getting crazy. I'm telling you, it's getting crazy this time of year. We're excited. We've got Major League Baseball tonight. Dodgers, Red Sox, two of the biggest media markets, two of the best baseball markets in the country, getting ready to do battle. So we'll kind of go ahead, break that game down for you. We do have a thought on where the value lies here tonight. We'll share that with you. If you're planning on laying a little action down on the game tonight, we'll tell you probably where the most value is and where your money should be heading. And also looking forward to talking to Alphonse Sidney, Miami Heat Beat podcast host, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network in Miami. Great people, great information if you want to know anything about Miami sports, okay? Even the damn Marlins, and nobody wants to know about the Marlins, but there are some of you out there that have some interest as to what's going on with the Marlins. There is no better place to go and get all of your information for what's going on in the world of sports than in Miami, especially, than the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So shout out to those guys. Alphonse Sidney, he's going to join us in just a couple of moments. We're going to talk about some of the observations through the first week of the NBA and the Miami Heat. Because here's the problem in Miami that we have right now. There is not a lot to be excited about when it comes to the fan base here in Miami. And so there is an unbelievable amount of bitching and moaning going on Twitter, on Miami Twitter fans across every sport, whether it be the Marlins fans have pretty much given up. They've been in hibernation. Their hope was the Miami Dolphins. And then when the Miami Dolphins won the first 3 games, Marlins fans were like, okay, we'll jump on the Miami Dolphin bandwagon. We've got something to be excited about. And then they got smoked by New England, and now they got poor Brock Osweiler in there. So now they're completely discouraged from the Miami Dolphins. Then they switched over NBA because they're like, all right, now listen, we've got the Heat. Like, we can always root on the Heat. We can always count on the Heat to be, if nothing else, competitive. And we've got the farewell tour going on with our man Dwayne Wade, and everybody loves Dwayne Wade here in Miami. And after 1 week, I've got to tell you, the Heat fan base on social media has been nothing but brutal. And I mean brutal. I'm not sure exactly what Miami sport fans were hoping for in the first week. I mean, Miami is 1-2 here right now, and their first 2 games were complete, talk about heart attacks waiting to happen, coming down to the last second buckets. They came back from 26 against the Hornets, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to lose there. But you would think as if the Miami Heat, it needs to be blown up. People are just going crazy, and I don't know if it's so much because of the Miami Heat fan base being unhappy or if we're looking at Miami Marlins and Miami Dolphin fans who are transitioning now into the NBA and hoping that the Heat will save them or give them something to cheer about. And the fact that they're not 3-0 is just completely pissing them off, and they're ripping on everybody. And I don't know that that's fair. But I can tell you this, Miami fans are probably the most miserable in the country on whole, I think. Unless you guys, and that's my question to you today, what fan bases, like what city do you think houses the most miserable sports fan bases right now? Is it Cleveland? Although the Indians, I mean, they made the playoffs, so as bad as the Browns are and as Cavaliers are going to be, yes, they're miserable. New York, I mean, you still had the Yankees, So you couldn't be all that discouraged. Miami's got nothing to root for at this point, at least according to Miami fans. So I'm asking you guys here today. You can join us, hit us up across all the platforms. We've got Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch rolling here. We've even got our friends joining us here via all of those platforms are joining us right now. We want to say hi to them. Big Bear joining us. Big Bear, good seeing you, man. Dolphins do suck. Canes super suck. Go Seminoles. I'm not sure you can't say Seminoles suck in that rotation of teams you just threw out there, Big Bear. But I'm glad that you're joining us. And outside of Miami, what is the most miserable fan base when it comes to sports? I mean, what cities have nothing to be excited about? I want to hear from you. Mr. Onions is back on YouTube. It's a pleasure to see you guys. Of course, I welcome all of you onto those platforms and to hit us up while we're going along here. HC77 joining us up on YouTube too as well. Always a pleasure seeing you guys. Villaman on Twitter. The Villain Man, rather. Always good to see you. Oakland Raider fans are representative here on the show today, so we do want to thank you guys. But that's my question today. Tell me, what is the most miserable city right now for sports fans? Because Miami, if you follow anything on Twitter, and the guys at 5 Reasons Sports will tell you, maybe, and you can't be L.A., although Laker fans are going to self-explode, the Dodgers are in the World Series. So I don't know what other fan base or what other city is just as miserable as Miami is right now. But I want to hear from you guys. Don't forget you can hit us up, 855-983-2255. That is how you reach us here on the show. That's the Miami Acura hotline. And before we get to our good friend Alphonse Sidney from Miami Heat Beat, well, we'll go ahead and just tell you very quickly that Miami Acura has the all-new 2019 RDX available for a test drive. Go take it. I promise you'll never drive anything ever again. Deals unbelievable this time of year. They are looking to push some cars, and they're making it to the point where you can't say no. So if you're in the 305 and you are a Miami Marlins fan, stop being miserable and go get yourself the car you've always wanted. Head over to Miami Acura, South Dixie Highway. Take it for a test drive. The all-new 2019 RDX. The damn thing drives itself. It's got every bell and whistle that you could possibly imagine. And swear, it's like you can finally get the car that you've always wanted, only at a price you never thought was possible. And they're making that happen at Miami Acura. So head over there, South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay, for those of you in the 305. Outside of the 305, simply call them at 855-564-4669. That's 855-564-4669. We'll get to the breaking news in the NFL coming up, but first, well, guys, happy Tuesday to you. And in addition to Major League Baseball World Series starting tonight, we've got college football, we've got the NFL, and in case you haven't heard, the NBA has also started. We're a few games into the season, and the Miami Heat fans have already stuck a fork in this team. So I thought maybe we'd dial it back a little bit, bring in a sense of reality. So nobody better to do that about the Miami Heat than Alphonse Sidney. HeatBeatMiami.com, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline. And Alphonse, I don't know how you deal with it, man. We're 3 games in, and already the Heat are the worst team in the history of the franchise, man. Like, come on, bring us back to reality. What have we seen so far from the Miami Heat?
I mean, I don't know what anybody was expecting. You have a team that is going to end up anywhere between 4 to 6 in the Eastern Conference, and in the Eastern Conference, that means you're an average team, and an average team is going to lose and win a lot of 1-point, 2-point games. I mean, if you go back at all 3 games, they could easily be 3-0, and they could easily be 0-3. So I don't know what anybody's upset about. I mean, it's 3 games into the regular season, and we need to stop treating regular season NBA games like they're regular season NFL games. They're worth about 1/5 of an NFL game. So everyone pump the brakes a little bit. The Heat are missing 3 to 4 rotation players right now. There's been games where you could see that a capable wing defender like Justice or James Johnson would have really helped the team out. You're missing Wayne Ellington, so you're missing your best 3-point threat. So, yeah, these things are going to happen. And even when those guys come back, you just got to remember that this is what they are. They're a middling team, and a middling team is going to play close games like this, and we just really can't get apoplectic about it. It's gonna be that kind of season. Enjoy Dwayne, enjoy the young guys developing, and let's move on from there.
Yeah, I mean, health is a concern for this team right now, and one of the biggest things that leading up to the season was the Jimmy Butler trade talks, and it appears that Pat Riley has put the kibosh on that. Has he done it totally, or has he just kind of put his foot down and said, enough for right now, I'll let you guys know when there's something to know?
I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall that at this point he was starting to bid against himself, which is what you never want to do in trade talks. So he does the right thing. He pulls the plug and says, listen, I put my best offer for you guys on the table, which apparently was Josh Richardson, Kelly Olynyk, and a protected first-round pick. That is the best that Minnesota is going to do. And on Minnesota side, if that's not what you want for Jimmy Butler, then, yeah, you pull back on it too. And then so you watch how the beginning of the season plays out. I'm thinking 3-4 weeks into the season, when the teams look at their records, either Miami will say we need to do more and come with a better offer, or Minnesota will look at the landscape and say, you know what, that was the best offer we could have got. Let's go back to Miami. But at the end of the day, it's what Minnesota needs to understand is they have no leverage here. They can lose Jimmy Butler for nothing at the end of the season because everything points to him not re-signing in Minnesota, or at least get a young up-and-comer like Josh Richardson, a solid starter or six-man like Kelly Olynyk, and get that protected first-round pick because the Heat aren't going to be in the lottery next year anyway.
Yeah, no, they are not, and I don't think it's dead yet. But I'm glad that Pat at least came in and said, "All right, guys, let's slow this down," because there's no way that hadn't been playing in the locker room at some point. Alphonse, everyone's names getting thrown around, who's traded, who's not. You got the season started. At some point, Pat was going to have to address it with the team and say, "I'll let you guys know."
Well, yeah, everybody on the whole roster pretty much was involved in the trade talks, except for Dwayne Wade and Udonis Haslem. So, I mean, you got to think, part of it, that yes, these guys are professionals. They understand trade talks will happen. But going into a season, you're 10 days away from the beginning of a season, and then for the trade talks to be that hot, that out there, that public, you got to think they are professionals, but they are human beings. I talked to somebody who was dating a professional athlete, and you don't even think about it. If you get traded on a road trip, you move to a new city before you even get to go home first. So these are the kind of things we do have to remember that it weighs on human beings' minds when your whole life can be go through upheaval with just a quick sign of a pen.
Yeah, so true. Alphonse Sidney joining us, part of the Heat Beat podcast, 5 Reasons Sports Network. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline. I think we can certainly, I mean, it's only been 3 games, but I think we can all agree that Josh Richardson is living up to the hype going into this season. He's slowly but surely taking the reins of this team, and he's kind of morphing himself into the player I think a lot of people hoped he would be, but maybe not necessarily sold on who he would be.
Josh is what's happening. What I see with Josh is that he's actually getting the offense run through him. He's become a focal point. I believe he's leading the team in minutes. That might have been hurt by last game, or he was in some foul trouble. But this is who Josh is, and my only thing that I worry about is this Josh's ceiling? Because if this is Josh's ceiling, it's still less to me than Jimmy Butler. And I would love for Josh to develop into a Jimmy Butler type guy, but I just don't see it happening. I still see at the end of games, Goran Dragic and Dwayne Wade really being more aggressive and dictating what happens. And that could just be a sign of Josh's age, the fact that Goran and Dwayne have been in these situations more. But it's for a guy to be your franchise player, you want the ball in his hands. And you've seen already in this young season, he's made some mistakes in that area. hopefully it's growing pains, and hopefully Josh does turn into an all-star this year. We did a prediction column. I did predict that if Josh Richardson is around, he has the best chance of any Heat player to become an all-star. If the numbers stay the way they are, yes, he will be an all-star. But let's just see how it plays out.
And how impressed have you been? Because I know there was a lot of talk, a lot of chatter on social media, Alphonse, and you've seen this, about Bam kind of phasing out Whiteside. It was sooner or later going to happen. But to tell you the truth, Whiteside's come to play, so has Bam, and neither one of these guys is kind of, is giving it up that easily. I've been very impressed with what I've seen from both of these guys. What have you seen so far?
What I've seen is Whiteside looks like a healthy Whiteside. He looks like he has some explosion. He's running the floor better than he was. He's closing out on three-pointers as best as he can. His picks have been better. He's actually running the pick and roll with Dragic a lot better than he normally has. Where you would look at him, is he even trying to set a pick, or what is he actually doing? But yeah, Whiteside is looking more and more like Whiteside. Does he look like a max player? No, but I think some of that is just the way the NBA is nowadays, and I don't know if there's ever going to be. I don't know right now if there's any max center in the league who doesn't shoot threes. But the fact that both Hassan and Bam will push the ball up the floor. Hassan's gotten, I don't know if he's got the green light or if his driving spoke crazy. He's actually bringing the ball up the floor a little bit more, pushing the offense. All these are great signs. And listen, at the end of the day, what Heat fans need to realize, and sometimes I feel like there's Heat fans out there that get upset when they see Whiteside doing well because they think it's going to somehow take away from Bam. At the end of the day, what you want is to have two starting caliber centers. Like that's a great problem to have. And if that's what the Heat have, then that's a good thing.
Looking through the first week of the NBA season, Alphonse Sidney joining us, the Heat Beat podcast, co-host there, heatbeatmiami.com. You guys can check it out. The offense is off the charts, and I know it's only a week in, Alphonse, but have you noticed that too? I know the numbers have come in, and we're averaging, 7-8 points more this year than we were last year. I mean, we're seeing games in, totals in 240 range, teams are scoring 130 points. The offense is crazy so far 1 week in, and it'll probably only get better there. Were you expecting this? Are the Heat even built to be able to compete in that kind of NBA?
Well, I think part of it is it's a function of a lot of these new rules with the freedom of movement. They're making it easier and easier and easier to score. And then another thing, because I saw Tim Reynolds actually put out the tweet about, this is like the highest scoring since the 69-70 season. If you look at the new shot clock rule on offensive rebounds, you got to take that into consideration. Instead of I don't know if all the listeners know, before on an offensive rebound, the shot clock reset to 24 seconds. Now the shot clock is resetting to 14 seconds. You extrapolate that over a full game, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, you've added 3 minutes, of offense to a game, basically. So you add 3 minutes of offense to an NBA game, you're going to score 20 more points. So those subtle little changes, and I actually love the rule. And maybe because as a Heat fan, I'm tired of deflating offensive rebounds. Ruining a defensive possession, but to see it now, I feel like the offensive rebound isn't completely deflating, and then also it just speeds up the pace of the game. An offensive rebound before, and a guy dribbles the ball back out to the 3-point line and runs another 24 seconds off the clock. That's not great. That's not super aesthetically pleasing basketball. Now with the 14 seconds, the sense of urgency is heightened, and I think it's led to some of this scoring and the freedom of movement rules.
What has surprised you thus far through a week or so of some NBA games here to start the season? Is it LeBron being, winless there in L.A.? Is it Detroit all of a sudden looking like they have a team? I mean, Toronto, we kind of knew what they were. That's not really a surprise. Milwaukee. But when you look around what you've seen thus far through a week, are there any surprises to you?
It's just hard. Like, yeah, there's things that surprise. The scoring is surprising. Some of these totals are jarring. But I think, I feel like every year, the first 10 games, there's some team that comes out like gangbusters. I think it was Orlando last year, and then it fizzles out and water reaches its level, as the great Tony Fiorentino likes to say. One of the things that's the least surprising to me is the fact that the Kobe fans, not the Laker fans, the Kobe fans, are already turning on LeBron James, and I am enjoying the hell out of it because and I like LeBron. I like LeBron, but one of the things I did not understand this move because the Kobe fans will never accept LeBron James, and you saw them come out in full force last night when LeBron missed 2 free throws to not to necessarily ice the game, but to put the Lakers ahead and put them comfortably ahead, and they end up losing that game, and it just warms my heart because I said this from the beginning that those fans will never accept LeBron, and you see it happening right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and I'll throw this because they're just going to devour themselves. The whole Laker fan base is not going to by in another 3 weeks. They're not going to know what to do with themselves. It's hysterical. I think I don't know what the hell they expected there, but 0-3 they shouldn't really surprise anybody if you're a Laker fan. But what about the Pelicans? If there's one thing that stood out to me, is that this team's averaging 140 points a game. And, the Pelicans, you kind of knew they were going to be okay because of Davis. But, damn, dude, the Pelicans can score with the best of them.
Well, you got to remember, and I believe Alvin Gentry is there as their coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the architects of the Golden State Warriors. It was going to take some time, but if he's coming in there with that scheme and with what the Golden State Warriors were doing, yeah, it took some time, but I mean, they were always going to eventually be a high-scoring team because that's the style of basketball they wanted to play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I get so hesitant. I get so hesitant on any of this stuff because I look at the Pelicans roster and they have some nice players, and of course they have Anthony Davis, but you just got to think, is this sustainable? I look around the league at what's sustainable. I see a few things, but I really feel like, we need like another 2-3 weeks to really get a real clear picture of what the league is.
Yeah, I mean, is Murata going to continue to average 33 a night? Probably not. But, I mean, it's pretty impressive so far. You know what I mean? So it's pretty impressive what they've been able to do thus far. But I think maybe the best thing for all fan bases to do at this point, especially Heat fan base and Heat Twitter, all right, you guys listening? All right, Alphonse is the voice of reason here, guys. Slow your roll. There is nothing jarring or nothing out of the ordinary of what we're seeing right now, Alphonse. It's a long-ass season. Give them a chance to get healthy, see how this Jimmy Butler thing plays out, and who knows, in 4 or 5 months, we might be having a totally different conversation here.
Yes, sir. That's it. Everyone just needs to slow the roll a little bit, man. It's 3 games of a young NBA season. And like I said, the Heat are missing 4, if you want to count Dion Waiters, which I don't want to.
Yeah, no.
But if you want to count Dion Waiters, they're missing 4 major rotation players. And that's going to affect the way your team plays. But the only fan base I don't want to count is the Lakers.
Yeah, like that.
Guys, they need to be in full panic mode, go completely insane, start burning LeBron jerseys before he even leaves town. I saw Twitter say that they need to try James for a young superstar. Like 3 games. It is amazing. It's art. It is artwork what's going on over there.
I got to tell you, and the first night, it's so funny because you also have the other segment of the population that will suck LeBron's ass no matter what happens. I'm talking after one quarter. After one quarter in Portland, I was reading tweets about how, underrated, they're going to be the 3rd best team in the West, that LeBron changes the scope of everything.
MVP.
I was like, it's one quarter. They're playing Portland. Like, slow down. Unbelievable.
What were they called? The Bron sexuals and the Kobe fans are at war, and they're part of the same fan base now, and that's what makes it amazing.
Yeah.
honestly, that's going to be the best show to watch all season long, the Lakers Civil War. Because when LeBron does well, somehow it's a slight to Kobe in the Kobe fans' eyes. So they cannot even enjoy their team's success. I mean, the irony is so sweet over there. I just love it. It's the best show. It's the best show in the league this year.
It's going to be so much fun to watch. And also real fun is make sure that you guys catch the podcast, the Heat Beat podcast. Tell us about it, Alphonse. How do people get to it? When do you guys record? Give us all that good.
We're on iTunes. We're on Podbean. We're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you'll find Miami Heat Beat. Check out the entire 5 Reasons Sports Network. I have another show called Light Skinned Opinions, which is more about pop culture and politics, but we get into sports. We had about a 20-minute segment on the Lakers Rockets fight that you don't want to miss. We discuss fight etiquette, and if you're not sure what to do in a melee, listen to Light Skin Opinions this week. We'll get you squared away.
And I want
we're also doing a lot of
that was actually priceless too. And I want to ask, I've been asking a lot of people, that fight, all right, if that was in the street, who does LeBron side with? Does he side with his teammates, or does he look way more concerned about Chris Paul's well-being than Rondo or anybody else on the team? Did you notice that as well?
Yeah, I brought that up, and that was weird to me. It was, and he's consoling him on the way to the bench instead of going to his own teammates. Brandon Ingram looks like he's odd. If that was a street pickup game, you know, I look at what Rondo when I read just isn't right.
Dude, he was in section 203. He was in section 203 throwing bombs, dude. That's not fair.
Yeah, he punched Chris Paul from the visitor locker room. I mean, that's...
Oh, Jesus.
Wasn't right.
I can't. Alphonse Sidney, HeatBeatMiami.com. Make sure you check it out, the Heat Beat podcast. Head over to 5 Reasons Sports. Make sure you guys follow them. All of Miami sports, whether it be the Marlins, and yes, there are people talking about the Marlins still, whether it be the Dolphins, which is its own headache, or, of course, the Miami Heat. Make sure you check them out, 5 Reasons Sport. Alphonse, this is always a pleasure, brother. Thank you for taking some time, man. Enjoy today. It's an early season. We'll do this again.
All right, brother. See you later.
Appreciate it. Alphonse Sidney, HeatBeatMiami.com. Make sure you check out the Heat Beat podcast. And I'm still trying to get over the fact that he brought out Inspector Gadget there, too, man. He went Inspector Gadget arms on us there. But we want to thank Alphonse. Make sure you guys check it out at 5 Reasons Sports on Twitter. Make sure you follow them. They've got the scoop on everything that's happening here in Miami sports, which isn't much at this particular point. But if for nothing else, there may be not a lot of wins going on here for Miami teams, but there is certainly your share of drama here. So it is an awful lot of fun. And I want to thank Alphonse for taking the time out and hanging out with us here today. Also want to thank you lunatics who are hanging out with us across all the platforms here. We've got Twitter represented, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, all you lunatics over here. Mr. Onions, want to say hello to you. Mr. Heesill77, what's going on with you guys? We got Eagles fans in here. We got Raiders fans in here. We got Steelers represented, hanging out with us across all these streaming platforms. We want to welcome you guys in. Thank you very much for hanging out with us here today. And coming up, we've got some... Well, we got some breaking news in the NFL. If you didn't hear, we've got a trade, we've got an arrest, and we've got a release. We've got all sorts of things happening in the NFL. We'll go ahead and bring you the latest, including what does it all mean? What does it mean? We got a crier, too? Is that what we got? We got somebody crying in the NFL. We got all sorts of drama happening, and we'll go ahead. We'll bring that to you here in just 2 minutes. But first, we got to say thank you to a few more of our sponsors here that make this possible. They go ahead and support us, so we certainly hope, especially you lunatics there in the chat rooms, we certainly hope that you will go ahead and support them. Low-cost airline, Superior Cruise and Travel, and our good friends at Miami Acura. So don't go nowhere. 2 minutes, we'll give you the latest in the NFL, plus tonight's winner in the World Series Game 1 matchup between your Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Boston Red Sox. We'll talk about that coming up. 2 minutes.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. That's 800-293-0328.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. That's 800-761-1427.
Get ready to talk sports. It's the Say It With Me podcast. Now here's your host, Joe Raineri.
Happy Tuesday to you. Don't forget, if you haven't done so, $1.6 billion tonight, mega money. All right? You got a really good chance of that happening, so make sure you go out and spend a lot of money on tickets, because you always have a really good shot at a 302 million to 1 chance of pulling those numbers out, even though nobody's done it in, 6 months, it seems like? $1.6 billion tonight. Mega money, and then tomorrow I think you got Powerball at 600, 700 million. Good Christ. What are you going to do with that? I can tell you right now, I will not be here tomorrow, 4 o'clock, if I end up winning. You guys will know exactly where I am. And for you lunatics that are hanging out across all the platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, at Joe Raineri Show, I'm taking you all with me. We're just going to go buy an island, and we're just going to hang out and spend all day making fun of other people's chat rooms. Why don't we do that? Are you guys into that? You let me know. I do want to thank WagerTalk.com as well for sponsoring us here on the show. They are your one-stop shop for everything that is wagering advice and information. Knowledge is power, and the more knowledge you have, the better chance you have of actually, winning, which is important when you're sports betting. And they'll help you make a better decision than a 302 million to 1 chance of pulling out 6 numbers or 5 numbers plus a mega money. I have no idea. But you got to be in it to win it. Just don't go ahead and bet the farm tonight, all right? Don't be wasting a paycheck on a whole bunch of quick picks. Get yourself $2. It's worth it. See what happens. Chances are this thing's going to roll over to $2 billion before it's all said and done anyway. And be honest with you, you lunatics hanging out with us, joining us in Twitch and YouTube, Facebook, and we've got Mr. Dracula over there. We got Hesil. We got Mr. your onions, and Vori and you guys, what's the first thing you buy? $1.6 billion. Go. What's the first thing you're buying? Who would buy their favorite sports team? Let me put it that way. How many of you would go out and buy the Steelers, the Raiders? Would you go ahead and just shit can everyone, Vori, on the Oakland Raiders? Would you do that? Keep them in Oakland? Don't switch them over to Vegas? Hit me up there in the chat room. I can't wait to hear what you guys got to say about that. Also, if you missed it, great conversation about the Miami Heat, the state of the NBA through 1 week. Alphonse Sidney, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, joined us just a little while ago. If you didn't get a chance to hear that interview, don't worry about it. Best part about live streaming is if you missed it, it's on demand. You'll have the opportunity to play it back as soon as we are done here. But we do have some breaking news in the NFL, so let's get to it. Breaking news, NFL. We've got a crackhead sighting. That is correct, I believe. Yes. This looked like all sorts of fun last night. This would be a Von Miller. That's right, a Von Miller party that somehow we got footage from. Happened to show up last night on Twitter. This is making the rounds right now. That I'm not sure if that's baking soda or if that's the real deal there. But we got a whole lot of people that were at a Von Miller Halloween party that apparently saw backup quarterback Chad Kelly end up getting arrested last night, if you can believe that. Like, somebody busting out the Boba Fett out. Yeah, that's a lot of, I don't know what that is. Like, I mean, I'd like to think that maybe it's just a prop, but, you know, it is the NFL after all, and it is Von Miller. And this looks like some party, does it not? I mean, this looks like one hell of a party. And I don't know that I'd be partying that hard if I was the Denver Broncos, given their record and the fact that they're chasing the Kansas City Chiefs. But that's just me. But that was what was making the rounds. And then, of course, Chad Kelly gets arrested. And this is what the police department there in, it looks like Inglewood, Colorado, had released this, saying that on yesterday, approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, Inglewood police officers responded to an address, and they referenced a male standing outside the residence. And then while officers were responding, apparently that male entered the residence and kind of just hung out on the couch and started mumbling and yeah. And that male was identified as backup quarterback Chad Kelly. He was placed in custody without incident, much because he had no idea who he was, and he was jailed on the charge of first-degree criminal trespass, and he has since been let go. But the rumors are that this all stems from the fact of him having hung out at this Von Miller party, got so lit that he ended up wandering down the road somehow and just let himself into somebody's house and just hung out on the couch, completely blitzed out of his mind. And it wasn't like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, Jesus, he must have been going hard. And you guys know that this is not the first time Chad Kelly has had issues with the law. He got kicked out of Clemson, don't forget, where he originally went to college. He got kicked out of that for blowing up at Miss South Carolina over a fender bender that was in a stadium parking lot there. Ended up getting his ass tossed out of there. They said he had, quote-unquote, maturity issues to deal with. And then he was blowing up at people on the sidelines during games. I mean, the guy was a bit of a head case. He had to go to community college to get his crap together. Then he went back in and ended up over at Mississippi at UMass there, and he ended up getting arrested over there. Then he got into a fight in Buffalo for fighting with bouncers. He pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. He ended up blowing his leg out his senior year, so he didn't get a chance to play. But to his credit, he has not been in any trouble with the law since being drafted by the Denver Broncos. But this is also the same guy that got blown up by Mia Khalifa not once but twice, because he tried sliding into her DMs and that didn't work out. She just threw his ass under a bus. So things have not been going well for Chad Kelly. Now, you would think a guy like this, should be experienced enough at this point to understand, like, if you can't handle your partying, dude, like, don't party. It's that simple. But that must have been one hell of a party at Von Miller's house, man, for that to I'm not sure what was going on in that bag, but you know that people are going to grab that video and they're going to be screaming and yelling, saying what kind of partyables were at this party here at Von Miller's house. Nobody else got arrested on the team. Apparently just Chad Kelly, who couldn't control himself and needed a place to sleep. So why not wander into somebody's house and just take the couch out? That's exactly what happened there. John Elway is said to be very disappointed with his quarterback and said that they are looking into the matter. They are waiting to talk to Chad about what happened. I'm not even sure I'm really not sure exactly what kind of exactly what kind of excuse you can give about hanging out in somebody else's house there. But I don't know. God bless him. We'll see exactly what's going on there. I know, Big Bear, it's kind of hard, man. Yep, Chad Kelly just said basically he mistaken. He thought it was his house, and he kind of lost his bearings there a little bit. It was cold. It was in Denver. He had been drinking. But, yeah, that's pretty much what you got going on there in Denver right now. So the guy that's jumping up and down right now has got to be Case Keenum because he's a no threat. Now, you can't start Chad Kelly if you are John Elway. The optics of that will not look very good. So at least Case Keenum now doesn't have to worry about losing his job to Chad Kelly anytime soon because there's going to be some explaining to do as to what's going on here. And poor Jim Kelly. Something tells me, no, this runs in a family. Could you imagine if they would have had social media available when Jim Kelly was playing in Buffalo and what was going on up there with Bruce Smith and Jim Kelly and all those guys, Andre Reed? I can't even imagine Thurman Thomas. You want to talk about dudes that could party, and there is nothing else to do in Buffalo but party. So thank goodness that Jim Kelly and that crew up there didn't have social media back in the day. Otherwise, I don't know what the hell we would have known about these guys. But poor Chad Kelly he going to be punished at some particular point in the game. The other quarterback making news today is making it for a totally different reason. He's making it because pain is not apparently something he likes to have, and I'm referring to Derek Carr, the Oakland Raiders quarterback, who there was a story written today, and I want to make sure I have I want to make sure that I have it correct here because I don't want to quote it. It's being quoted, I guess, that Derek Carr, Marcus Thompson II from theathletic.com is reporting and written a story that Derek Carr has a fractured relationship with his teammates. And why does he have a fractured relationship with his teammates? Because I guess they don't trust him. And they don't trust him because there was a play or a situation in London against the Seahawks when they were playing there last week or the week prior, where he was crying after being sacked because he hurt his arm. And I guess they not only witnessed it on the sidelines, the players did, but it was also very evident when they were watching film back during the week and watched him, bawling his eyes out because they said they heard him whimper, and they witnessed him on the sidelines trying to explain him. And it was, they're saying that at this point they don't think the team wants to play with him anymore. Not that there's going to be much of a team left anyway. Let's be realistic. By the time the end of the year comes, John Gruden will have either dropped, released, or traded just about everyone on that team, including Derek Carr, as we wait for the October 30th deadline to come on. But yes, apparently the story is that Derek Carr, his crying on the field after he got sacked, is not sitting well with many of his teammates. And now you don't know what to believe because Derek Carr has since taken to Twitter and to tell everyone he can assure you that not one tear was dropped. But the story was written because there are multiple sources inside the organization, I guess, that are backing it up, that he is he's a little bitch, and he doesn't like getting hit. And when he gets hit, he whimpers and he cries, and that's not sitting well with a whole lot of people, Big Bear. Did you know that? That's right. Was not sitting well. Now, the other good news is that there was also somebody else. You know that Amari Cooper was traded to the Dallas Cowboys yesterday for a first-round draft pick, which I happen to think is a pretty good deal for the Raiders because Amari Cooper he's doing the reverse. He's actually getting worse the longer he's in the NFL. He's not getting any better. Those first two seasons, his 1,000-yard receiving rookie season seems to be a million years ago. There is a lot of talk about Amari Cooper maybe enjoying his sweets a little too much. He's packing on the pounds, and there are those that don't think he quite has the work ethic to be able to sustain that kind of production like he did the first 2 years in the NFL. So hopefully a change of scenery in Dallas will change that for Amari Cooper, but there are a lot of people who don't think it will. They just think that he's no. Once the work aspect of it tried to creep in there, that Amari Cooper went the other way. So good to get him out. No Khalil Mack, no Amari Cooper, and now it's being reported that the Raiders also got rid of the punter that they had, and now I guess they released him. He is no longer on the team, so I guess they're signing somebody else to do the punting. Matt McCrane. Yes, they cut kicker Matt McCrane, and they signed Daniel Carlson. This will now be the third kicker of the season for the Oakland Raiders. They can't seem to get that back. Wasn't the punter, it was the kicker. I'm sorry. They lost their first kicker, Matt Nugent, I guess, for the season. He had a hip injury. The good news for the Raiders is that he was 6 for 6 on field goals before he ended up getting hurt. But McCrane hasn't been good. He's 5 or 9 overall, and those stats look better than he's really been because he's 3 for 3 from 20 to 29 yards, but he's 2 of 6 from anything longer than 29 yards. So there's something about Gruden and kickers and punters that he just doesn't seem to get along with them. So they did bring in Carlson. He was a 5th-round draft pick of the Vikings this year. He was cut after he missed 3 field goals in week 2. Viking fans certainly remember him. And I'll say this again here, guys. I'm just going to tell this one more time. Have your kids play football and have them learn how to kick. Because if you can kick with consistency, not only will you have a very long career, just ask Adam Vinatieri, but they will pay you millions and millions and millions of dollars not to suck. And most all the kickers in the NFL today are atrocious. So when you have to start going on to your 3rd or 4th kicker, you know there are some issues in the NFL with kicking right now. So they desperately need people who can kick and who can kick consistently. And by the way, they're waiting to see. Vinatieri might be finished for the year, too. He pulled his groin in the game against Buffalo, so Indianapolis is waiting for the results. They don't know if they're going to have to go out and sign another kicker. They're trying kickers out, from what I understand right now. There's no word on Vinatieri on whether or not he might have to go on IR, and then he'll be done. The guy's 107 years old, and he's still kicking field goals. It's amazing to me. But that's where we're at. So those are no Le'Veon Bell, too. That seems to be in the headlines. We still have no word on when Le'Veon Bell is planning or if he's planning on coming. Mike Tomlin is still not interested in talking about him at his press conference today. Tomlin had nothing to say about it. He's not interested in talking about Le'Veon Bell. He said, I don't play the hypothetical game. He is quoted as saying that he is simply interested about the people who are here and are in uniform and are on the team currently. So he is not interested in talking about Le'Veon Bell, although everyone else certainly seems interested. And the other big question is about Patrick Peterson, the Cardinals cornerback, who said he wanted out of Arizona yesterday. So where does Patrick Peterson land? There are a whole bunch of people that are very interested in Patrick Peterson's services, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. But maybe even more interesting is what's happening with the Saints right now. If you guys have not heard, the Saints pulled off another trade. They went out and got former New York Giant first-round pick Eli Apple. They ended up trading for Eli Apple. He's on his way to the Saints. What did they give up for him? I guess they ended up giving a 2019 4th-rounder and a 2020 7th-rounder. So a 4th-rounder next year and a 7th-rounder the following year. And he will now join a secondary with his former Ohio State alumni, his brother there, Marshawn Lattimore, Von Bell, and Kurt Coleman, all Ohio State alumni sit there. There's going to be a lot of OSU alumni in that secondary. But they also are still interested, reportedly, in Patrick Peterson and bringing him over. He wants out of Arizona. There's no question about it. Patrick Peterson's like, get me out of here. This team is hot garbage. I got to go. But the Saints are willing to pretty much forego any sort of future in the NFL to win right now. They know. I mean, they gave up a 2nd-rounder? What did they give up for to go out and get Teddy Bridgewater? They've traded a 1st, a 3rd, and a 4th-round pick for Davenport, which they went up and got as an edge rusher. They went up and got him in the draft. They got Teddy Bridgewater from the Jets, and now they've gotten Eli Apple. So they've traded a 1st, 3rd, and a 4th-round pick so far this year in trades, and they may not be done yet because they're already starting to mortgage the 2020 draft, it looks like, here with Eli Apple. So that tells me they're ready to rock and roll. They know they don't have an awful lot of time left with Drew Brees, so if they are going to win, now is definitely the time to do it. So it looks like they are all in on doing their best shot at trying to make a run to the Super Bowl. And I know I was talking to the guys in the chat rooms, and we were talking a little bit earlier, and the Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs are definitely you can't ignore them, but I'm not sitting on New Orleans. I'm not ready to stick a fork in New Orleans just yet. If they can figure out the defensive side, that team can score with anybody. They can score with Kansas City, and they sure as hell can score with the Rams. So New Orleans is not somebody that you're going to be able to sit on at this point and just be like, give it to the Rams, give it to the Kansas City Chiefs. Drew Brees and them, they can score. And you know what? I mean, Joe Falco, not Shane Falco. Shane Falco from The Replacements. No, I know what you guys are doing in there. You guys are a little bit crazy going on there in the chat rooms. Careful if you enter these chat rooms, by the way. You got some hardcore dudes in here, all right? On Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, at Joe Raineri Show, Twitch. You got a whole lot of these crazies in there having a good time ripping each other apart. So it's not for the faint of heart. If you're going to join into the conversation in these chat rooms, good luck with that. But it's glad to see that you guys are having a good time. But yes, Eli Apple gone after the Giants lost again last night, prime time, Monday night, lost. But they did cover it. You got to love that bad beat cover last night, huh? A little backdoor cover with the Atlanta Falcons going off as a 4.5-point favorite, up by 11 points with a minute 40 to go last night. Then they give up a bomb to Sterling Shepard. Then they get inside the 10-yard line, and they tried 2 quarterback sneaks there from the 1, and then they got it down to 5 seconds, and Eli decided to throw a pass that somehow Odell Beckham caught. I have no idea how he caught it. But, of course, they got to go for 2 because they were down to 11, but Atlanta was still covering. All they had to do was stop Saquon Barkley from the 2-point conversion, and it was like Moses, man. It was like the parting of the seas. Nobody touched him. He waltzes in, and, of course, the Giants backdoor cover the Atlanta Falcons. Can you tell which side I was on there? Yeah. All of this in the final 10 seconds of the game. How exciting was that with no timeouts? But the Giants ended up covering last night. They only lost by 3. That game went off at 4.5. So be it. So be it. That is the way of the world when it comes to sports gambling. But I will say this. Tonight, you're going to make it back. Why? World Series. Game 1 tonight. So who do you guys like going in to Game 1? Boston is the location, and you got 2 of the storied franchises in the history of baseball getting ready to go. Fenway Park, and what a pitching matchup. Chris Sale for the Red Sox, Clayton Kershaw going for the Dodgers. And I'm excited. 8:09 is the first pitch, I believe, in this game. Yes. And I'm going to side with the Dodgers all day in Game 1. Why? Because I don't know what's going on with Chris Sale. To me, Chris Sale is the unknown here. He is a question mark. Now, they are a -130 or -135, I believe, favored, and the Red Sox should be favored at home. Game 1 of the World Series, Sale on the mound. The Red Sox should be favored. But I got to tell you, Chris Sale so far in this postseason has not been great. His pitch count has gotten up there real quick. He only went 5 1/3 in Game 1 of the ALDS against the Yankees. Against the Astros, he only went 4 innings there. I mean, he was good, but the problem was he wasn't great, and they had to go to the bullpen often when Chris Sale has pitched. Now, we know he's been in the hospital last week. He ended up missing that final start there in the against the Houston Astros, but he is better. He said he had some sort of belly button infection or some crap like that from a belly button ring. I have no idea. It's just a little too freaky for me. But his biggest problem has been in efficiency so far this postseason. And if they only get 4 or 5 innings, that means the Red Sox have to go to that bullpen, and that bullpen, to me, is the biggest question mark of the Red Sox going into this series. He hasn't completed 6 full innings since July 27th, that being Chris Sale, which is also the last time that he threw 100 pitches in a game. And I can tell you the Dodger hitters are not going to go up there flailing. They're going to be taking an awful lot of pitches. So I don't know. You're asking the bullpen to do an awful lot of heavy lifting, and we're talking about a bullpen that has been good, but hasn't been great, and it certainly hasn't been great against left-handers. So, and Kershaw being a left-hander going up against that lineup in Fenway Park, left-handers have done very well against Boston this year, especially at Fenway Park, and that means it's going to come down to bullpens. And if it's coming down to bullpens, and you're asking me which bullpen is better, I can tell you right now who's been the hottest bullpen over the last 2 months of the season, and that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Their relievers have a 1.30 ERA in 41 2/3 innings. They were monstrous in September. They had the second best ERA in Major League Baseball in the month of September. The Dodgers bullpen is what has ridden them to this point in the World Series. Sale, too much of a question mark. I can't pass up the value on getting, plus 130 and with Kershaw on the mound, so I will take that all day long. I trust the Dodgers bullpen more than I trust the Red Sox bullpen. I trust Kershaw right now more than I trust Sale, and I do think a left-handed Kershaw taking on a predominantly right-handed lineup there in Fenway Park against the Red Sox team that has not done well against left-handers this year. Too much value for me. I'm taking the Dodgers plus 130 tonight. I do think they'll take game one. I do think this is going to go 6 games. I do think the Red Sox will eventually win it, but they're not going to beat Kershaw tonight. And Sale might only go 3 or 4 innings, and then it's good luck in the bullpen there. They are not going to dominate Clayton Kershaw tonight in this game. And the under, I think, is 7.5. That might not be a bad bet either. You could definitely see that. No, he won't cut. Yeah, no, he's going to cut. I like the under, and I like the Dodgers plus 130 tonight with Kershaw on the mound. So there you go. Don't say I didn't give it. Don't say I didn't get you guys all caught up there. Carolina covering the +5 on Sunday was also a total bad beat for Philadelphia Eagle fans. Yes, I'm with you guys. If you're an Eagles fan, you are probably looking for a very tall building going, what happened? As a matter of fact, the Eagle news didn't get any better today with the announcement, and I do believe, let me make sure I have this correct here. Hold on. Let me see if I have this correct. But if I'm not mistaken, the Eagles lost. Yeah, Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett, their linebacker, is out for the year. He's having shoulder surgery. So that's a big hit to them. He's going to miss having shoulder surgery. He's been dealing, I guess, with this issue now since Week 5 against the Vikings. But he was a 2017 first-round pick. He started 6 games for the Eagles this year, 17 tackles, 2.5 sacks. He is that is going to be a big miss for the Philadelphia Eagles. That is not good on a defensive front that has not been great. So they are going to have to do a little patchwork, the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not been going well for the Super Bowl champions, a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, you might say. And I do think Carson Wentz will come around, but I think it's going to be a little too late for this team. Certainly coming out of the NFC, not with the Rams and not with New Orleans. They don't have enough firepower, the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're losing defensive pieces that they can ill afford to lose to be able to compete against New Orleans or the LA Rams in the playoffs. So not looking good for the Philadelphia Eagles or for their fan base. The Eagles need to bring back Jeff Garcia. God damn, you are ruthless in there, man. We got some ruthlessness going on there. Nobody wants Jeff Garcia doesn't want to be Jeff Garcia. You got to be kidding me, much less Eagle fans. Eagle fans are going to be fine. Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, they'll get back on track. I do think they're going to end up, the offense is going to be much better than it's been, but you're losing too many defensive pieces. The defense is what made this team go last year. You lose a guy like Derek Barnett right now, they're just not the same team, man. They're just not the same team, and you need to be able to score with the likes of Drew Brees and Jared Goff right now, and I just don't see how Philadelphia is going to be able to do that. They can score with Dallas, but they ain't going to score with New Orleans or with the Rams for that matter. Yes, Big Bear, I am with you. What do we got here? Let's see what we got for Big Bear. Sunday. What do we got Sunday? That just passed the Eagles. Yes, I know. Yeah, Sunday is going to be a very interesting day in the NFL, but certainly here in Miami, we've got even more exciting things going on with the Brocktober, I believe, right? Brock Osweiler, short week. Miami has no wide receivers, neither do the Jets for that matter, but the Miami Dolphins are looking, if you guys can catch, by the way, I'm pretty sure the Dolphins are holding tryouts. They're willing to go ahead and listen. If you guys can maybe try out and catch a pass from Brock Osweiler, you might be eligible to make the team. It's not been good. Everybody is hurt. Short week, taking on Houston. Houston's throwing bombs in the press conference today. Jadeveon Clowney, all of Lamar Miller, all ripping the Dolphins and Brock Osweiler, who, let us not forget, you got paid a boatload of money in Houston to pretty much get traded. That's what happened to him. So things are not going well in Miami right now for the Dolphins, and they got a short work week. Going to play Thursday night. I can't imagine who's going to watch that game. It's going to be very interesting, although they rattled off 4 wins in a row, that being the Houston Texans. So could this be a 5th straight win for them? It's not pretty, but at least they're getting it done. The only thing that matters in the NFL is W's, and right now they're getting them. So good luck to Brock Osweiler and to the Miami Dolphins. Good luck to you guys in the chat room. Thank you guys very much for coming out once again to us here today. Big Bear, you rule. Mr. Onions, always a pleasure to see you guys. Go Eagles, go Raiders, go Steelers. Who else we got represented in here today? Thank you guys very much for coming by and hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure. Those of you on Twitch, Mr. Dracula, thank you very much for coming by. Enter at your own risk in there. These guys are great, man, but they know their shit. So if you're going to enter, don't be the faint of heart, all right? Hang out with these guys. They are extremely knowledgeable, and the references are priceless. So we love you guys in the chat room. Thanks very much for stopping by, making us a part of the day. Tomorrow, Ricky O'Donnell, Bleacher Report, SB Nation, NBA Reiner, he's going to join us. We're going to talk a little NBA, the whole LeBron thing. If you didn't get a chance today to hear it, we did talk to Alphonse Sidney from the 5 Reasons Sports Network, the Miami Heat Beat podcast. Some great takes about not only the Miami Heat fans, but the Miami Heat team and what we've seen thus far through the first week of the NBA. It's a great listen. If you didn't get a chance to hear it, don't worry about it. You're going to have it right here in the beginning of today's show. Make sure you guys check it out. Some great information there. Make sure you also check them out at 5 Reasons Sports. Check them out on Twitter. Awesome stuff. If you like Miami sports, these are definitely the guys to follow. So you guys rule. Always a pleasure. Vari, Big Bear, all you guys in there, thank you very much for stopping by, making us a part of the day. Enjoy the game night. Okay, don't forget Dodgers plus 130. Get it right now. Shop it around. Get the best number. Dodgers win tonight. Come back and join us tomorrow, 4 o'clock. We'll break it down. We'll get you all squared away. Good luck tonight in the Mega Money. If I win, you won't see me. But if I don't win, you'll definitely see me tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So have a great night, guys. Thanks for stopping by and making us a part of it. We'll talk again tomorrow.